Okay, thank you. I'm very happy to be here to tell you about one of my recent work on volunteering. This is also a joint work with Dan Hauser, who is sitting right there. So in this paper, our goal is to design a fail-safe reward-based mechanism that promotes positive interest in volunteering. So let me first explain why do we emphasize fail-safe. Volunteering is a low-frequency activity. So because of that, if we want to promote volunteerism by rewarding regular volunteering, people may very likely to fail to comply. And this is important not only because of this failure per se, but also because this failure may lead people to believe that they're not really interested in volunteering. And the reason is that, according to consistent theory, people have this desire to keep the belief consistent with their action. And one important implication there, as also have been argued by many others, such as Dan Raleigh, people may infer their preference or their belief from their previous action. So if we apply this theory into our environment, when we reward people to volunteering regularly, and if people fail to do that, they may start to believe that they're not really interested in volunteering. Just like the fox who is trying very hard to reach the grape, and then he failed to do that, and then he started to think that I must not really like the grape, and the grape is not really tasty. So this consistent theory is both the source of the problem that associated with this low compliance rate. But it turns out that we can also apply this consistent theory to design a mechanism that is insulated from this potential problem associated with the low compliance rate. And this is what we're trying to do in this paper. So our mechanism is a two-stage mechanism that is very similar to some other mechanisms that have been studied in previous literature, like Chinese and Guineas, also many others. In those papers, the two-stage mechanism works as follows. So in stage one, the experimenter will reward people to complete a one-time target task, and in their case, it's like, for example, it's like exercising. Then in stage two, the experimenter will continue to reward repeated target tasks, like repeated exercising. And what's interesting here is that they found after this intervention, people continue to exercise even when there's no reward. Okay? But notice that in those studies, they often obtain very high compliance rate with exercising. So most people succeeded in this stage two. Okay? Now, our concern is, of course, those mechanisms that incentivize only the target activity may be ineffective in the environments where people are very likely to fail, where we're going to get very low compliance. And we're going to test that. And in addition, we're going to design an approach that is just slightly changed from this standard two-stage mechanism. And in particular, we're going to no longer incentivize target tasks in stage two. And I'm going to explain next how this feature make the mechanism fail-safe. Okay. So in our proposed compound task approach, again, it's a two-stage mechanism. Now, in stage one, we're going to incentivize reward a one-time compound task. Okay? The compound task consists both the target task, in our case is volunteering, and a complement task. In our case, we have them write about the benefit of volunteering. Okay? Then in stage two, we're not going to incentivize the target task because we're worried if people fail, then they're going to think that they do not really like volunteering. Instead, we're going to incentivize rewarding them to do this complement task. They're going to write about the benefit of volunteering. Now let's think about how this mechanism works. If people succeeded in stage one, they finished the compound task. Now let's first think about if people, what if people succeeded again in stage two? Well, the way that we design this task is such that if people succeeded in writing about the benefit of volunteering, this writing task is going to make them repeatedly thinking about those good things about volunteering, and therefore it's going to reinforce their interest in volunteering. On the other hand, if people fail, it turns out, according to our theory, they're still going to form this belief that they must like volunteering. The reason is that, according to consistent theory, the fact that if someone succeeded in this stage 1 compound task, which include both volunteering and writing, but they failed in the second stage, writing only, one way to reconcile this inconsistency is to say, I must not like writing, but I do like volunteering. And that's the essence of our approach. Okay? So the essence here is that once people succeeded in the first stage, we get them, regardless whether they succeed or fail in the second stage. They're always going to develop this belief that I must like the target task. In this case, I must like volunteering. And for this reason, we call it fail-safe mechanism. Okay, so since we're interested in people's intrinsic interest in volunteering, how do we measure that? We're going to use a review preference measurement. In particular, in our study, we're going to ask, after our intervention, we're going to ask people if they are interested in leaving their contact information to receive future volunteering opportunities. The information of future volunteering opportunities. Of course, this decision to sign up is also something that many volunteering organizations are interested. So if you open any website of those volunteering organizations, very often we see those links that invite people to sign up for their newsletter. Okay? And this is probably also the first step to get people to start to volunteer. Okay? So we think that our approach can also help to think about how can we promote those sign-up decisions. In our study, the volunteering activities is to help with the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. We have 5 treatments in total. In the baseline, we do not provide any reward. We just recruit people and then tell them about this opportunity of helping with the library. And then we have another 4 reward mechanism. The first one is just one-stage mechanism. People were just asked to finish this compound task, for volunteering ones, and then writing about the benefit of volunteering. And then we have another 2-stage mechanism. And all of them include the first stage. And in addition, we ask them to do some repeated tasks, and we're going to reward them. So we have in the W treatment, they were asked to do the writing only, so this is our fail-safe mechanism. They only do this complement task in stage 2. Then we have another 2. In both, we incentivize, we reward people to do the volunteering task. In the V treatment, they just do the volunteering only in stage 2. And in the VW treatment, they do this, they continue to do the compound task repeatedly. Okay? So here's just some details about each incentive mechanism. Okay, in the VW1 case, again, this is just one-stage task. They are only going to do this compound task one time. We reward them for 25 hours for volunteering once at the library and email 2 messages about any benefit of volunteering in 1 week. Then we have another 3 2-stage mechanism. Following the 25-week, the stage 1, participants were rewarded another $50. Okay, and then there's different activities in this stage 2. In the W, as I said, they were asked to only do the complement task, writing about the benefits of volunteering. And we argue that is a fail-safe mechanism. In the other 2, volunteering is involved in the second stage. So in V, they were asked to volunteer 4 times in 4 weeks. In VW, they were asked to continue to do this compound task for 4 weeks. And in particular, again, the key here is that volunteering is involved. So our hypothesis is that on the condition that people complete the stage 1 task, in V and VW, if they comply, if they succeeded, okay, this can lead to positive effect on the sign-up rate, which indicate their interest in volunteering, and presumably also their volunteering activities. And based on previous literature, if they succeeded in stage 2, they repeated doing those tasks, then it also can help to promote their interest in the volunteering. But the problem here, as I explained, if they fail, then it's going to make them believe that they do not really like the target task. In this case, it's the volunteering. Okay. In contrast to W treatment, since volunteering is not incentivized in stage 2, so if they, regardless of whether they succeeded or fail, they're going to develop positive attitude towards sign-up rates. toward volunteering, and in this case, we look at sign-up rates, and presumably also the volunteering activities, and we look at that as well. Okay, so here's our 1-year timeline of the study. On September 11, 2012, we recruit all the participants in 1 day. And then for those people who were assigned to those 4 incentive mechanisms, they were told about this $25 reward opportunity for volunteering or to do this compound task once. And 1 week later, they come back to pick up their payments. And we also, meanwhile, we assign participants randomly into one of the 4 incentive treatments. And in particular, we make sure that we have about the same proportion of people who succeeded in stage 1 in each of those 4 incentive treatments, because we are interested in those people who succeeded in stage 1. And then they will, depending on the treatments, if they were in those 2-stage mechanism, some of them will start this 2-stage mechanism. 4 weeks later, they will come back to pick up their payments, and that's also our last day of intervention. And then about 2 weeks later, we send up them an email with a survey. At the end of the survey, we ask them whether they're interested in leaving their contact information to receive future volunteering opportunities information. And of course, we're also interested in how the effect of our intervention on their actual volunteering activities. So 1 year later, just last month, we sent out another survey asking them to report their volunteering participation in the past year after the intervention finished. Okay, so here are our results. First of all, let me show you the compliance rate during the intervention. Baseline VW1, just 1-stage mechanism. Then we have V, VW, and the W. These are the number of subjects in treatment. Those are the number of people who finish the $25 task. Okay? So one thing I want to draw your attention here is we got an extremely low compliance. This is the compliance rate in the 2nd stage task. So how many people succeeded? Okay? So we got extremely low compliance rate in all this 3 2-stage mechanism, and in particular VW, where they were asked to do the compound task repeatedly in stage 2, and the W, we got an extremely low compliance rate. Okay? In V, where they were asked to do the volunteering repeatedly in 4 weeks, we got a higher compliance rate, but still relatively low. Okay? Since this VW and W has very similar low compliance rate, in the next several slides, I'm going to focus on the comparison between VW treatment and our fail-safe mechanism W treatment. Okay, so here are the sign-up rate, overall sign-up rate by treatment. As you can see, first thing to note is that in the W treatment, our fail-safe mechanism, we got the highest sign-up rate compared with all the other 4 treatments. Okay? And in particular, W treatment has higher sign-up rate than VW treatment, even though in both treatment we got extremely low compliance rate, less than 10%. Okay? Now, our hypothesis is, of course, about those people who succeeded in stage 1. So next slide, I'm going to show you the sign-up rate for those people who failed in the stage 1 and those people who succeeded in stage 1 separately. If you look at those people who failed in stage 1, failed in this one-time compound task, okay? Across these 4 incentive treatments, we do not observe very much difference over there. Okay? Our hypotheses are related to those people who succeeded. Okay? So if you look at the people who succeeded in stage 1, okay, the W treatment, our fail-safe mechanism, achieves significantly higher sign-up rate. We got about 70% people who sign up to receive future volunteering information. And in contrast, for VW treatment, we got extremely low sign-up rates. Okay. Now, of course, nature question asked is that to what extent our sign-up rate say anything about the actual volunteering activities? And we're interested in that, so we sent out a survey after 1 year, ask people to report their volunteering activities. Okay, here again, since our hypothesis is about those people who succeeded in the first stage one-time task, what I'm going to show you is the reported volunteering hours in each of those treatments on the condition that people could succeed in stage 1. Okay? And here is the results. Okay? Again, we observe W achieved the highest the reporting volunteering hours, highest reporting volunteering hours in W treatment, and lowest in VW. And the sign-up rates, turns out the sign-up rates here, as you can see, the pattern of the sign-up rates across treatment significantly predict the pattern of actual volunteering hours. So as a conclusion, I show you some evidence that the incentive to promote using incentive to promoting volunteering can be very difficult because it's very hard for people to do those, to engage in those activities. But we propose this and provide this evidence that our two-stage incentivized compound task mechanism can promote both positive interest in volunteering and actual participation in volunteering, even though the compliance rate is low. Okay? And that's what I have to say. And I just want to thank those people who helped with this research, particularly the libraries that provide wonderful support for this. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Questions?
I was curious. You have voluntary in your study. So in other words, what I'm worried about is the causation here.
Mm-hmm.
People volunteer a lot before they volunteer more like they come in. So they're people like the ones that are volunteer and like that.
People who volunteered before they're the ones, but since the treatment are randomly assigned, so how does that explain the treatment differences?
It's not the treatment differences, but the follow-up. Essentially the analysis between treatment and behavior.
So we have some survey. In this case. Did we ask them in the previous years? I don't think we asked them in the previous years exactly how many hours they volunteered. But since we are looking at the cross-treatment effects, I don't think that would, since we randomly assign them into different, yeah.
Curious to see which they hadn't volunteered at all before. So like in the study,
Oh, okay. I see. Right. In general, most of our participants report certain high amount of volunteering. There are few our subjects really reported zero. So in general, another thing is that depend on how you define volunteering. A lot of people count at going to the church as volunteering. So it's very hard to get precise data how people interpret that. Yeah. But I agree with you that if we could get people who just don't volunteer at all, versus those people who volunteer a lot, that would be interesting to look at. But we do not really have that much variation to allow us to see that. Yeah.
So now this is a conference that tries to bring together practitioners as academics. So what is the bullet point that you would tell the practitioners? What can you learn from your study? What should you do?
Yeah, so one thing I think is important to pay attention is that when we design the reward, we have to think about to what extent people will comply. So in our case, and in many previous studies, very often when you reward people, people just succeeded in those activities. While in our case, it's the case where you reward people and then people fail to do that. In those cases, we show that, like in the VW treatments, it can have a detrimental impact on these target activities. So the question is how to avoid those possible detrimental effects, like the crowding out effect. And I think our approach, like instead of focusing on the target activities, we can think about focusing on some other complement task, and that could be something to think about rather than just focus on this is the activities we want to promote and let's just focus on those activities. It would be beneficial to think about some other complement task that we could also try to intervene.
Okay, there's more questions. Let's thank the speaker.
Thanks.